Hey, what's going on? I'm Matt O'Leary back with another video, and today I'll be talking about top 5 underrated players on the New York Jets for 2021. Before we get started today, just wanted to mention that you can follow me on social media at Matt O'Leary NY, and if you haven't already, please make sure to check out the Just Jets podcast, subscribe to this channel, the Just Jets Clips channel, and comment done, and you are entered to win a Zach Wilson jersey or one of 2 packages from Manscaped when this channel hits 10K. The climb continues. All right, so I found it kind of difficult to pick just 5 players. I think you can make the case for more than that. So these are my top 5. You could comment your top 5 down below, and we'll get after it. We'll jump right in. My first guy on this list is Foley Fatukasi. I think Jet fans generally appreciate him, but overall, I would say he, around the league, is one of the more underappreciated players, and even I think some Jet fans sleep on him. One of the better interior defensive linemen in all of football. He is Pro Football Focus's second best run defender as an interior defensive lineman, only behind Aaron Donald. He was 5th in 2019, so this is no fluke. He had 42 tackles last year. He's never going to be someone who's going to be a huge sack guy. That's not his game. Kind of like Damian Harrison. He's not someone who's going to get a ton of pressure on the quarterback, but against the run, he is going to clog up the middle. He's going to be a tackle for loss god, really, and I'm really excited to see what he can do in this Robert Saleh defense, because this defensive line is really, really good, and there's going to be more talk on the defensive line even later when talking about these top 5 players. Speaking of defensive line, let's talk about John FranklinMyers. Last year, he had 51 pressures. That's really, really good, especially when you consider that he wasn't always on the field. He was 3rd among interior defensive linemen in pressure rate at 14.4%. Only 3 sacks, but that doesn't tell the entire story. Again, he wasn't a regular guy. He was more of a rotational player, but he was really a very effective pass rusher for the New York Jets. And in this system with Robert Saleh, you would absolutely expect him to take a step forward. So to me, he is absolutely someone who is underrated and I think underappreciated even by some Jet fans, definitely around the league, but I think even Jet fans are sleeping on him. He is going to be a versatile piece and can move around the line a little bit too, which makes him, a quality player to have on your roster. The next guy on my list is my only offensive player in the top 5. Again, if you want to expand that, you probably could find more. And that's Keelan Cole, who is probably going to be the Jets' 4th wide receiver. I understand that he was playing over Denzel Mims in OTAs, but I'm not putting too much stock into that. I think when it's all said and done, you expect Davis on the outside, Mims on the outside, and Moore or Crowder in the slot, with Keelan Cole being technically the 4th guy on the list, but he's really solid, and he had a decent year last year in Jacksonville with a god-awful quarterback play, 642 yards and 5 touchdowns. He's a contested catch god. Over the last 3 years, 65.5% on contested catches. That's super impressive. Those are supposed to be like 50-50 balls, and he's getting 65% of them. That's really, really good. He's a great blocker, which obviously Joe Douglas really values. He drafted Denzel Mims, who's a good blocker. He signed Davis, who's a great blocker, and he also signed Cole, who's a good blocker. So clearly they have a game plan here and a type at the wide receiver position. He could easily be in most teams' top 3, but he's probably the 4th guy on this list. So I wouldn't necessarily write him off in terms of this offense, and the numbers he might put up might not be crazy and jumping off the page, but I think he's a quality player, and if God forbid there's an injury, I think he could step in and be fine as a starting outside player. 4th guy on my list is CJ Mosley. Yes, he got paid a ton of money. Yes, he also hasn't played in 2 years, and I think fans are holding that against him because they haven't seen him in a very long time. They automatically assume that he's done and just maybe forgot about how good he actually was. And now I'm not saying he's going to be 100% the player that he was in Baltimore, but the things that you love about CJ Mosley is he's excellent in coverage. Really good in coverage. We saw that in week 1 against Buffalo in 2019. He's an extremely smart player. Football IQ through the roof. It's like having another coach out there. And they really lacked that in 2019 and in 2020 as well, especially in 2020. The Jets linebacker group really wasn't all that good and hasn't been for a while. But CJ Mosley coming back, even if he's 80% the player that he was, would be tremendous. And I think he's going to surprise some people. Maybe not at the Pro Bowl level that he was, but I think he could absolutely be a solid starter and an asset. And I think a lot of people are just writing him off and just want to get him out of here. Yeah, the price tag's a little high, but I'm absolutely okay with CJ Mosley being a starter on this team and probably next year too with how his contract looks. So get used to him being around for a little bit. And the last guy on my list is Vinny Curry. I love Vinny Curry, and I think a lot of people just think, okay, he's, going to be a backup probably, which is true. But in a limited role, he's proven to be an extremely, extremely effective kind of pass rusher, a situational pass rusher. 14% pressure rate last year, which was 94th percentile for edges, according to Pro Football Focus. And not necessarily a big sack guy. Like, he'll probably fall somewhere between 3 and 5. But you'll take that from someone in a rotational role. He's someone he's a veteran at this point. He's not going to have a ton of speed coming off the edge, but he just is a really proficient rusher. And you would much rather a player like that, even at his age, versus someone like Jordan Jenkins, who is okay, but he's nothing more than just okay. He's good at setting the edge, where Vinny Curry can really give you some, production on the opposite side of Carl Lawson in a rotational role, which is really going to be fun to see. So that's my list of my top 5 underrated players on this team. You can give me yours as well in the comments below or on social media. You guys let me know. I was very defense heavy, only one offensive player, but you can maybe make the case for some others. So let me know. Get at me on social media. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll talk to you next time.